Story about when God revealed himself to me, and after that day, there was no denying the fact that Jesus Christ is real. I was in Gateway Aliquippa Rehab back in 2017. Um, I had just gotten a new roommate in. He was about 19 years old. He was a crystal meth addict. He was sleeping on the steps of the church before he came in. Right, so the first day he comes in, everything's cool. We get along. I had just written a short story about being imprisoned with the demon of addiction, and I had him read it. And after he read it, it was like a real dark story. And after he read it, he became engulfed in fear, and that's when a demon took over him. All right, so getting back to it, I couldn't tell this right away. It was later on that day. I'm in our bathroom, and he's reading out of a German-English dictionary. And he says a word in German. I said, "What's that mean?" He said, "Fiery." He said another word. I'm like, "What's that mean?" He said, "Parasite." As soon as I heard those two words together, I immediately said a prayer of protection against any witchcraft or any curses trying to be set on me. So after I get out the bathroom, when he went and left the room, I went and picked up the German-English dictionary. And those two words, in either in English or German, were nowhere near each other. So I know right then he was trying to set a curse on me. So later that night, we did a group, and it showed a bunch of like obituaries of people who overdosed and everything. And the assignment was we were supposed to write our own obituary. Well, I had just lost a close friend to overdose, so instead of writing my own obituary, I chose to write a prayer letter to a dead friend. And in this prayer letter, I told my friend Billy that if he's in the valley of the shadow of death, do not fear Satan, because your fear is what gives him teeth. That Satan seeks to whom he can devour, and don't give in to fear. Have faith over fear and find your way through the narrow gates. And so I read this to my roommate, and tears were coming out my eyes when I read it, and he started laughing at me. I'm like, "Bro, what do you think is so funny about this? Like, this is serious." And he laughed and said, "It doesn't matter if you pray." I said, "I believe it does. I believe if I place my hand on this, write it down, pray over it with my full heart and belief in God, that it'll reach my friend no matter where he is, and he will hear it. It'll give him strength to get through and endure." And he laughed again and said, "It doesn't matter if you pray." And he asked me, "Would you like me to perform a ritual for your dead friend?" And I was like, "Oh, no rituals, no witchcraft, none of that. Like, I believe in Jesus." And he said, "There's no power in that name." And I said, "Hold on, who do you believe in?" And right when I said that, as he answered, his eyes turned black, his voice changed, and the whole energy of the room just engulfed and just swallowed and caved in on me as he said, "Who do you think?" in this crazy voice. And it immediately caused like fear in me, and like I jumped back, but then I got angry, and I yelled at him, "In Jesus' name, leave me alone. In Jesus' name, go away." And he said, "There's no power in that name." But when he said it, I could see a little bit of fear in his eyes. So I knew that he was lying to me. So that gave me the confidence to say it with authority. And when I said it again for the second time with authority, and then I started yelling at him and told him, get the hell out my room. And I ran out my room and knocked on the security door and said, "If you don't get this dude out my room, I'm throwing his mattress out the hall. I'm beating him up like something. Y'all got to do something. I ain't sleeping in the room with him. I'm leaving AMA. Like, you got to get this dude out my room." And when I walked back in the room, he was back to his normal self and was completely confused as to what was going on. Like, he didn't even know why I was angry, why I was yelling. Like, he had no recollection of what just happened. So they moved him out of my room and down the hall. Well, later that night, right across the hall from him, another guy had a roommate that night who started talking in his sleep, saying over and over, "I'll slit your throat and watch the blood drip, drip, drip." So the next morning, dude came to me and he's like, "What's going on? People were talking about, dude, he was possessed by a demon. Like, and my roommate started talking all this crazy shit last night. Like, I'm ready to leave. What's going on?" So we got in the Bible and we prayed, and we went down in the kitchen and got salt, and I sprinkled salt at the door of my room, and I told him sprinkle salt all around his bed, since he was in the room with the other dude who was acting crazy, and they wouldn't move him out. And we wrote prayers of protection down. And he was supposed to be leaving in 2 days. I only had one more night. And I'm sitting in my bed, my last night in there, thinking, there ain't no way this is what I'm telling myself in my mind. There ain't no way I'm going to sleep. I'm too scared. Like, all this crazy demonic shit going on. Like, I'm nervous to get out. Like, I'm having thoughts of using with all this stress, but I don't want to relapse. And I'm listening to the radio, and all of a sudden, static came over the radio, and a voice came on the radio, and this is what it said. I'll never forget it. It said, "Do you ever wonder if God is asleep when you're awake? It says in the Bible he neither sleeps nor slumbers. So what you need to do is go ahead and lay your head down on the pillow with the confidence that God is watching over you tonight, my child, and have no fear." So that's what you need to do right now, is just go ahead, rest assured that God is watching over you. And then the static came back, and it went to the music. And then right next to me, a loud noise was so loud that I threw myself off the bed and scurried on my backside against in the corner of the room, and held my hands up in fear. It was so loud right next to me, and it took me a second to realize what the sound was. It was an angel opening its wings right next to me. The wings were enormous. The sound it made, his wings had to be enormous. And it was an angel letting me know in the physical, for my ears to hear that they was right there. That they came in over and spoke through the radio to me, and then flapped his wings to allow me to see that I was being watched over. And I broke down in tears. It was the most humbling, most special experience I've ever experienced in my life. Who am I, this sinner, this drug addict, this selfish person who's always heard the voice calling of God but never answered it? And after that night, there was no denying that Jesus Christ is real.